130 AC, during the bloody Targaryen civil war, known as the Dance of the Dragons, when Queen Rhaenyra finally took King's Landing from her half-brother, King Aegon II, they were no longer in the city, having made their escape just in time. At the suggestion of Larys Strong, Aegon's Master of Whispers, the king and his two surviving children were split up. Ser Rickard Throne of the Kingsguard was charged with getting Aegon's young heir, the 3-year-old Prince Maelor, to Old Town and to the safety of House Hightower. When it was discovered that the king and his children were no longer in the city, the queen dispatched her inquisitors to find them. They rightly judged Old Town would be a likely destination and unknowingly followed the trail of Ser Rickard and the young Prince Maelor. Meanwhile, across the realm in the Reach, Sir Ormond Hightower was on his long march to King's Landing and had stopped to besiege Longtable, about 30 leagues southwest of the town of Bitterbridge. The village was crowded with men and women, fleeing before his advancing host. The lady of the town, the widowed Lady Caswell, whose husband had been beheaded by King Aegon II in King's Landing when he refused to renounce his allegiance to Rhaenyra, closed her castle gates, going so far as to turn away knights and lords when they came seeking her refuge. As a result, every inn in the area was full, if anything, dangerously overfull. Even the Hog's Head, a dismal sty of an inn. So when a strange man appeared, alone from the north, with a staff in one hand and a small boy on his back, the innkeeper had no room for him, and this man would find every inn full. That is until the well-dressed traveller pulled a silver stag from his remarkably full purse. The startled innkeep allowed that mysterious man and his young silver-haired son might find refuge in his stables, under the stipulation the man first mucked them out. The traveller agreed, setting aside his large pack and cloak as he went to work with a spade and a rake. The honour and trust of innkeeps and landlords has a well-deserved low reputation. The owner of the Hog's Head was a well-known local scoundrel, who in history is known as Ben Buttercakes. He wondered there might be more silver stags where there had been one, after seeing the size of the traveller's coin purse. As the traveller worked up a sweat, cleaning the stables, Buttercakes offered to quench his thirst with a tankard of ale. The man accepted, and accompanied the innkeep into the Hog's Head's common room, little suspecting that his host had instructed his stable boy to search his pack for more silver. The boy found no coins within, but what he did find was far more precious and would define the events to come in the pages of history. A heavy cloak of fine white wool, bordered in snowy satin, wrapped about a dragon's egg. The humble traveller's son was Maelor Targaryen, the heir and youngest son of King Aegon II, and the traveller was indeed Ser Rickard Throne, the boy's sworn shield and protector. Ben Buttercakes got no joy from his plan to steal Ser Rickard's silver. When the stable boy burst into the common room with cloak and egg in hand, shouting of his discovery, the traveller threw the dregs of his tankard into the innkeep's face, ripped his long sword from its sheath, and opened Buttercakes from neck to groin in one seamless, quick motion. A few of the other drinkers drew swords and daggers of their own, but none were knights, and hesitated. In that brief moment of calm, Ser Rickard suddenly began to cut his way through them, one by one. Abandoning the stolen treasures, he scooped up the prince, fled to the stables, stole a fresh horse, and burst from the inn, hell-bent for the old stone bridge and the south side of the River Manda. He had come so far from King's Landing, and he surely knew that safety lay only 30 leagues away, further on, where Lord Hightower sat encamped beneath the walls of Longtable. His goal was close and in sight, but 30 leagues might as well have been the far north and the wall. The road across the Manda was closed, and Bitterbridge belonged to Queen Rhaenyra, with the river too deep and rapid to cross. A hue and a cry went up. Other men around the inn took horses in pursuit of Rickard Throne. Hearing the shouts, the guards at the foot of the bridge bade Ser Rickard halt, but the bolting horse spread faster and faster to the bridge. Throne tried to ride them down and break through the safety of the Hightower camp the other side of the river. In one unlucky, unfortunate moment, just as safety seemed it might be possible, one man grasped his horse's bridle. Throne took his arm off at the shoulder and rode on, but that short delay of a few seconds, while Throne was dispatching the guard, gave his fellow guards time to form up on the south bank too. They formed a wall against him. From both sides, men closed in, red-faced and shouting, brandishing swords and axes and thrusting with long spears. As Thorne turned this way and that, looking for any small chance of escape, wheeling his stolen mount in circles as the guards grew ever closer, seeking some way through their ranks, Prince Maelor clung to him, shrieking, the screams breaking through the loud of the rattling steel. It was the crossbow that finally brought down Ser Rickard. One bolt took him in the arm, the next through the throat. Ser Rickard fell from the saddle and died upon the bridge, with blood bubbling from his lips and drowning his last words. To the end, he clung on to the boy he had sworn to defend, until a washerwoman called Willow Poundstone tore the weeping prince from his arms. Having slain the knight and seized the boy, the mob did not know what to do with their prize, many not even truly knowing who the screaming child was. Queen Rhaenyra had offered a great reward for his return, but King's Landing was long leagues away. Lord Hightower's army was much closer. Perhaps he would pay even more than the Queen. When someone asked if the reward was the same whether the boy was alive or dead, Willow Poundstone clutched Maelor tighter and said no one was going to hurt her new son. The infamous court fool Mushroom tells us that the woman was a monster, dirty stone in weight, simple-minded and half-mad, who had earned her nickname pounding cloves clean in the river. Then the stable boy came forward, shoving through the crowd, covered in his master's blood, to declare the prince was his, as he'd been the one to find the egg. The crossbowman whose bolt had slain Ser Rickard Throne made a claim as well, and so they argued, shouting and shoving above the knight's corpse. With so many present on the bridge, it is not surprising that we have many different accounts of what befell Maelor Targaryen. Mushroom tells us that Willow Poundstone clutched the boy so tight that she broke his back and crushed him to death, while Septon Eustace not so much as a mention of Willow. In his account, the town butcher hacked the prince into 6 pieces with his cleaver, so all those fighting over him could have a piece. Grand Maester Munkin's true telling says the boy was torn limb from limb by the mob, but names no names. All we know for certain is that by the time Lady Caswell and her knights appeared to chase off the mob, the 3-year-old Prince Maelor Targaryen, heir to King Aegon II, was dead. Her ladyship went pale at the sight of him, saying, "The gods will curse us all for this." At her command, the stable boy and Willow Poundstone were hanged from the centre span at the old bridge, along with the man who had owned the horse Ser Rickard had stolen from the inn, who was wrongly thought to have assisted in Thorne's escape. Ser Rickard's corpse was wrapped in his white cloak, and Lady Caswell sent it back to King's Landing, together with Prince Maelor's head. The dragon egg was sent to Lord Hightower at Long Table, hopes it might dampen his wrath, and that of the boy's uncle, Prince Daeron. The fool Mushroom, who loved Queen Rhaenyra well, tells us that Rhaenyra wept when Maelor's small head was placed before her as she sat the Iron Throne. Septon Eustace, who bore her little love, says rather that she smiled and commanded the head be burned, for he was the blood of the dragon. The truth of the matter is most likely somewhere in the middle of the two tales. While there was no announcement of Maelor's death, word of his demise nonetheless spread through the city, and soon another tale was being circulated, one that claimed that Queen Rhaenyra had the prince's head delivered to his mother, Queen Helena, in a chamber pot. Though the story had no truth in it, soon it was on every pair of lips in the city. Historians put this down as the work of Larys Strong, the clubfoot, a man who gathers whispers, can spread them just as well. When Long Table was finally captured, the Green Army, commanded by Lord Ormond Hightower, arrived at Bitterbridge. Lady Caswell attempted to yield in exchange for safe conduct for her and her family. However, Prince Daeron Targaryen was furious about the death of his nephew and granted no mercy. Bitterbridge was brutally sacked and burned, while the population was executed or pushed into the Maunder to drown. No one was spared. The Hog's Head was the first building put to the torch. Lady Caswell begged Lord Ormond to spare her children before she publicly hanged herself from the castle gatehouse. Ser Rickard Throne is remembered in the pages of history and in the White Book of the Kingsguard for his valour and bravery in attempting to protect his charge. What makes the tale more harrowing is how close Rickard was to success and saving Prince Maelor, with the Hightower host only a short distance away at Long Table. Had the siege of Long Table had been resolved quicker and the Hightower host had not been caught up there, it's possible that they could have taken the town of Bitterbridge before Rickard had arrived, and therefore both he and Prince Maelor would have lived, and perhaps the entire course of history and the events of the Dance of the Dragons could have played out very differently. All we can know for sure is that day, with the death of Ser Rickard Throne and Prince Maelor Targaryen, Bitterbridge truly earned its name.